Anderson Silva versus Cheal sonnen has been announced for a boxing match June 15th in Brazil. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's fighting news reaction video, I guess. I mean, this isn't happening in MMA for some reason. The announcement was very unexpected, okay? We have been hearing news for a while that Anderson Silva was thinking about hanging up the boxing gloves very, very soon. And then we were starting to hear news that he wasn't going to be retiring from boxing. Instead, he was going to be fighting Terry Crews for some reason. That was the last 24 hours, but now it has officially come out that he is going to be fighting Cheal sonnen for his last event, but not his last event ever, just his last event in Brazil, and it's going to be a closed-door black tie event, invitation only. What is going on between Anderson Silva and Cheal sonnen? Let's sort of break it down and get into it, okay? So what went down with the Terry Crews thing? Firstly, I think Terry Crews versus Anderson Silva was just a bit of Twitter news or media news or sort of TMZ news. Put Anderson Silva's name next to a well-known celebrity and just get people out there, get him talking about it, get us talking about it for a little bit first online. For a little bit on Twitter first, right? Because these guys are the kings of marketing by now. They know exactly what they are doing and how to start to build some hype for a fight. But then it came out that the actual fight is going to be Anderson Silva versus Cheal sonnen in boxing. And this is just another classic sort of Tito Ortiz versus Chuck Liddell. You know, just a good old man rivalry. Throw them back in the ring when they're old. Someone just play One More Time from Daft Punk, right? There's a couple of like points that I think we should work through here one by one. The first one, right, is that I wonder if this fight is going on their professional records. I do wonder if this is a real fight, okay? And with Cheal sonnen being the only undefeated combat sports athlete in history, I do have to give him some props for wanting to take this Anderson Silva boxing match. Like, obviously I'm kidding, but I do wonder if this is actually a real fight, a sanctioned fight that is going on their like professional fighting records. Or is this just going to be a glorified sort of a sparring match that we're all just meant to sit back and watch and enjoy the show of? Number two would be, do we like really even care about this? Even if it is just a glorified sparring match. I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of do. Look, I like Cheal sonnen when he's the performance artist more than when he's the sports analyst, okay? When Cheal sonnen is the sports analyst, he is the king of just chewing up airtime with useless nonsense. He can say a whole lot of nothing over 15 minutes, and it's kind of bad, right? It's a bit boring to listen to. But when he is the star of the show, when he can play the heel, that is when the real Cheal sonnen shines through. And I do enjoy seeing that character very much. I don't know if I'm done watching that Cheal sonnen yet. When it comes to like, do we care about this? Also, the timing plays into it. It's on June 15th. There's no UFC on that day. The next UFC after that is, I think, at least June 16th in Australia. So maybe I'm getting my timelines confused. But even if it is on, that's just another Apex card. And we just had Fury Usyk on during an Apex card. And I am more than capable to sit down in the office with the big screen up and watch both at the same time. I am more than capable on doing that. So I think the Cheal sonnen versus Anderson Silva sort of fits in perfectly to me as a sports fan's fighting schedule of how to watch these things. So I'm going to watch the press conference. I'm going to click on the stream right before the fight starts. I'm going to watch the fight, see how well both of them look in there, see if there's any trash talk during or after, and enjoy the entire thing while the UFC is going on. Or if it's the day before the UFC, great. Gives us something to do and something to talk about. I'm totally okay with this. I don't know if I care, but I'm entertained by it. I'm happy to sit back and be entertained by this. Before I get into the next few points, really quickly, we're doing a big push on this channel. I want to get to 1,000 subs before the middle of July. So if you could go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, that would mean the world to me. Also, don't zone out just yet. We're going to be doing a live stream this weekend. Me and Bad Math MMA going to be doing a simultaneous stream. If you caught our last one, you know that I sort of screwed up how to do a simultaneous stream. So we're actually going to go ahead and do a test run of that before we do it. But when the UFC is usually on Saturday night, because there isn't a UFC on this Saturday night, we're going to do a live stream. So come in and join us for that. Right, that's all the channel updates. Next point, number 3 on Cheal Sonnen versus Anderson Silva. Point number 3, let them juice. Let them juice. Look, it's in Brazil, okay? It's the land of the secret juice. Paulo Costa's home of the secret sauce, all right? The land of Yoel Romero. God knows how old he is. Jose Aldo. God knows how old he is, and he just keeps getting better. Edson Barboza didn't have a great night over the weekend, but still, God knows how old he is. How do they keep? Brazil is the land of the men that don't age. So since they're already on steroids, look at Cheal Sonnen. Look at him, right? Plus, Cheal Sonnen has been known for juicing over the years, so obviously he's on steroids. Just let him. Let it rip. Let him juice. Who cares? This is a sparring match anyway, essentially. I know they're going to pretend it's a real fight, but it is just essentially a sparring match. So if we're going to be watching two old men have a sparring session at a black tie dinner, what is going on? Then we might as well have them be juicy old men, okay? They might as well at least look good while they're up there, have a bit of testosterone, a bit of movement, a bit of speed and power left in them. I don't want them to not be juiced. In fact, if they're not juicing, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it. I only want to watch it if they're juiced up, okay? Now, point number 4. Anderson offered to have this as an MMA match. But Cheal revealed on his podcast with Daniel Cormier that he turned down the MMA match and chose a boxing match with Anderson as a bit of a tune-up. He chose Anderson Silva as a bit of a tune-up fight in boxing. Cheal Sonnen, the wrestler, chose Anderson Silva, old man, the GOAT Anderson Silva, as a tune-up fight in boxing so that he can go and fight Jorge Masvidal in October. What am I saying? This is what he said. Check this out.
To do MMA rules. According to them, Anderson said for Cheal to pick the rule set, and it was just a situation where I've always wanted to box. Dan, I got this thing coming up with George Masvidal. I mean, here, if we're just letting all the secrets out, I got this thing coming up with George Masvidal in October of this year, and that thing's been coming up ever since ESPN sequestered me in Miami at $2.99 to try to protect me from George Masvidal. Like, there was nothing that really hurt my ego more than me being the one that was being locked down, and I only share that with you as I've known this Masvidal thing was coming, and then when do you let the cat out of the bag? Then the Masvidal versus Diaz, I don't want to step on Diaz's toes, and he's got that fight, but allegedly they moved that fight from June 1st until somewhere closer to the Paul Tyson fight, and I'm only sharing with you, I got George in my sights, and Anderson, as badly as I want to beat him, and as much as I am going to go out there and beat him, it's all a step in the process, because when I get there with Masvidal, it's going to be 8 rounds, and they are going to have the 10 or the 12-ounce gloves. It's going to be a little bit different situation.
So, don't look past Anderson Silva. He looked fairly good in his last few boxing fights. Anderson Silva is no scrub when it comes to boxing. Cheal is a wrestler, and Cheal versus Masvidal also doesn't bode well for Cheal. Look, I don't hold Jorge Masvidal in that high of a regard when it comes to striking. You know, I think he was very overhyped. He had a good run in 2019. Good on him. But apart from that, he's very overhyped. But again, Cheal Sonnen is a wrestler and has been very, very, very inactive for a long time. Jorge has at least stayed mildly active. Will be getting back in there against Nate Diaz, is primarily a striker. So if Jorge and Cheal are going to be having a boxing match, you'd have to be worried about Chael's undefeated record is going to go down the toilet towards the end of this year. Crazy, crazy. But anyway, so this isn't an MMA fight, which it should be. The Anderson Silva versus Cheal Sonnen would be so much more fun if it was an MMA fight. But apparently it's not an MMA fight because Cheal Sonnen is looking past Anderson Silva to go and box George Masvidal, Jorge Masvidal later this year. Wildness. I've also got a theory about that as well, which I will get to in another video or on a live stream. Join me on one of those. If you want updates, there's a Discord link somewhere on the channel. And the last point is, if Cheal Sonnen beats Anderson Silva and beats George Masvidal, I can see 2025 July Cheal Sonnen versus Jake Paul on Netflix. I can see that happening already. It does seem to be like these influencer boxers, these ex-retired fighters, these guys that are in this circle of outside of the UFC but still want to fight each other to make money. There does seem to be this sort of league bracket thing forming very naturally, and you can sort of see the steps coming into place. Jake Paul beats Mike Tyson. Cheal Sonnen beats Anderson Silva, beats George Masvidal. Jake Paul, Cheal Sonnen, Netflix, July, make money, beautiful, everyone's happy. I can see that happening if this fight does go Cheal Sonnen's way somehow. But it does open the door to these kind of events. And, you know, Jake Paul loves fighting old retired men. It's his bread and butter. So why not? I mean, we're here now. We live in this reality. We might as well go along with it. That's my reaction to the big news in the sports fighting world. I'd love to say it's MMA, but we are well off the beaten path of MMA now. But I did find it interesting. It is something that I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you think down there in the comments. Who do you have winning this fight between Cheal Sonnen and Anderson Silva? Do you think this fight is even real? What are the odds of Cheal Sonnen versus Jake Paul happening in 2025? Rank it out of a percentage, 0%, 100%. Put the answers to those three questions down there in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and of course, I will see you all in the next one.